It's game day, Detroit. You're waking up with Woodward and Maine, your source for all the insider information on the defending NFC North champion Detroit Lions. With insight from Detroit sports media legend Terry Foster and rising star Matt Broder. Get ready, Detroit. It's now time for Woodward and Maine.
Good morning, everybody, to Woodward and Main Street, or just Woodward and Main. I'm Terry Foster, along with the lefty Matt Broder, and I'm going to make this promise.
Let's hear it, Terry.
I am not going to make fun of Lion fans before every show, but today I am.
Today you are.
Today I am.
Okay, we gotta start with this.
And probably next show I will, but
not all 17.
Maybe 15 out of 17.
Fair.
But here's what I was hearing. Ooh, the Detroit Lions, Johnson, the defensive coordinators are caught up with him, and now he's hamstrung and can't do anything. Man, that offense, was crazy against Seattle.
Perfect. You could argue that offense was perfect. I know Jared Goff was.
Yeah, he was perfect.
You saying Lions fans were a little too scared going into that game that their offense wasn't going to be back this soon?
I think every game, there's a lesson here. Every time Lion fans are petrified, the Lions come through and exceed expectations.
They do.
Right. After every loss, they win. After every big game, this team is really on a roll. And next time it's going to happen is going to be the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
The Vikings, I'm not saying they'll be unbeaten, but they'll still be up there, and we're going to hear about, Justin Jefferson, and oh my God, can they stop him? And
Sam Darnold.
Yes.
The second coming of Randall Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
Can you keep talking for a sec, Broder?
Yeah, can you not hear me?
No.
Yeah, your mic
Can
is
you make
kinda
sure the
low.
thing's plugged in real fast?
Oh, yeah.
We can never hear you.
Hey.
All right.
I'm just here so I don't
There
get
we go.
fined. You
Yeah,
can hear me.
I heard it click.
Hey,
so.
you've missed all my jokes to open the show.
I missed it too, and I heard you.
Fortunately, it was all Terry opening there. They just didn't get the hype man extra sounds I'm helping you out with.
Right.
No, but Lions fans, what were you saying? Let's sum this up again. Let's start over. It's Woodward
Okay.
and Maine.
All right. I promise not to make fun of everybody every week, but I'm going to make fun of you today. I had heard how Ben Johnson's offense was stale. I heard how defensive coordinators are caught up and put a hamstring on them now. I didn't see that last night.
No. Were you worried at all, Terry? Opening drive. Actually, before the opening drive, Dan Campbell wins the toss, elects to receive. Mm-hmm. And then they proceed to go 3 and out.
Right. Then you're like, it's going to be a rough night.
Yeah.
But as far as the Lions winning this game, I was nervous all night because Seattle had over 500 yards of offense. They look great. They play hard. Geno Smith is rough. I mean, Geno Smith, a guy that was almost out of the league.
Yeah.
He had 1 foot on the banana peel, and he's walking by the grave. But now he's kind of revived himself, and he made some big plays.
He did.
Every time he plays the Lions, he makes big plays.
He did, Terry. Keith Gallardo in the chat says it's still weird hearing Terry Foster complimenting the Lions after he went so hard on them for so long.
And you know what? Because they stunk. I mean, this is one of the worst organizations ever. And but I told you, I believe the organization is sound. There's finally competent people in the front office, competent people in the coaching staff, and competent players. So I didn't make fun of the Lions for the hell of it. I didn't wake up and just say, I'm going to make fun of the Lions because I just feel like it. It's because I knew they stunk. And I knew that they were selling you a bad bill of goods. But now I'm confident that when they lose games, they're going to lose games that they're going to bounce back. This is different Lions. It's not the same old Lions, blah, 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 blah. This is a team that can make a run. Now, it's going to be rough. The NFL is rough, particularly when you're one of those elite teams. Everybody's coming after you. Every game is magnified. It means more. You know, a lot of Sundays, it didn't matter if the Lions won or lost when they were winning 7 or 8 games.
Yeah.
If they won, fine. If they didn't, who the hell cares? But now every game is magnified. Look at this. The Lions are 3-1, and you still get a little bit of panic in this town.
Oh yeah,
Because Minnesota's 4-0, and they're gunning for that number 1 seed. Now, it's not about just winning games. It's about positioning yourself where you want to be a number 1 seed. You have to win your division for the most part if you want to win the Super Bowl. And this is the season where the Lions are looking to win a Super Bowl.
yeah.
And last night, yes, there were problems defensively. But I think a lot of that had to do with the Seahawks have a good offense.
They do.
Metcalf is a bitch, man. This dude, and I mean in a good way. This guy, man, he's almost like a fullback at wide receiver. He'll knock your ass down. He'll catch what he wants. Now, he does turn the ball over a little bit.
That was one of the changing points of that play when and any time you get a player, you know how it feels when it's someone on your team. They're fighting for extra yards. So
Right.
you love to see that. You want to see it. But then Jack Campbell comes out of nowhere, jars the ball loose, and they run the other way with Carlton Davis.
Right.
That was a game changer.
No, it was a game changer. And my philosophy with the NFL is you can't stop teams anymore.
No.
They're going to go run up and down the field on your ass, no matter how good you are defensively. But in order to win games, you have to create turnovers.
Yeah.
Last night was a track meet. Last night was fun. But, what decided the game for the most part? The turnover. Seattle was always chasing the Lions because of that turnover.
Always.
They went for 2 points because, I think they just said, we can't stop these guys. So we got to create something. So they went for the 2-point conversion, which was probably stupid. But I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe it's not, because you got to do something, because you're not stopping the Lions. The Lions are not stopping you. But you have to try to create an edge somewhere, and that's where that came from.
Yeah, and that's why I don't read too much into the defense last night. There were some issues, but there were also some really good moments. And when you feel the tempo of that game, how that offense was moving, of course you're going to give up some points. They gave up 520 yards to the Seahawks, but the entire game they had their distance. They had their 8 points. Like you said, turnover. Seattle had 2. The Lions had 0. And that's a key to every game, and especially a key to a shootout like that.
And you know what? I hate when coaches say that. Well, how you going to win the game? Oh, we can't turn the ball over. But it's true.
It's so true.
Right.
Jared Goff had 2 big sacks on that. That was 2 big sacks.
Rephrase.
Pause.
I stop. Go ahead. Do your thought. I have a big question for you.
Fair. I was gonna say he was perfect on the night, but he had those 2 big sacks, which I think were the blemish on the night. But they were sacks. They weren't turnovers. They weren't interceptions. They weren't fumbles. So they didn't actually kill the game for the Lions.
Right.
I can't finish my thought with you looking at me like that. What do you got for me, T?
Here's your big question now, bro. What's more dangerous, Jared Goff as a runner or Jared Goff as a wide receiver?
I was so sure that Ben Johnson was going to try to get him a rushing touchdown by the end of that game so he could get the NFL Triple Crown. So you'd have 2 in 1 weekend for the Tigers and the Lions. No, that play, though, I think we need to call it the Motown Philly. Not the Philly Special, the Motown Philly. That was a perfect pass from St. Brown right in the breadbasket to Jared Goff. Didn't see that one coming. I definitely didn't put a bet on that before the game.
How about, no, it can't be Philly. How about the Motown Shimmy?
I'm okay with that.
Or
that feels
something
like a
else,
run.
Because didn't Amon throw that ball so high that it went up into the clouds?
Yeah, that's a good one. Because there was an end or an outside linebacker who was a slight bit late to cover Jared Goff. Chat, let us know. How about this? Give us some names for that play. I was thinking Motown Philly because although Detroit did it first, the Eagles did it in the Super Bowl with Nick Foles.
Right.
Boys
But
to men.
I want nothing
Lions
to do with
men.
Philadelphia, bro.
Fair.
We got to come up with our own stuff.
Okay, I'm down with that. I'm down. Motown. All right. I'll let that one simmer. Have you seen a game like that? Jared Goff, 18 for 18, 292 yards.
No.
2 touchdown passes, 1 touchdown reception.
You know why I never saw a game like that?
Why, Terry?
Because it hasn't happened.
Even you haven't seen it in all the years covering sports. All 80 years.
Only perfect
80
games I
years?
see is with Justin Verlander, maybe Tariq Skubal or something.
Armando Galarraga.
The imperfect
say
perfect
that.
game. So like that. If the umpire was out there for the Galarraga game, he would have ruled St. Brown's touchdown near the end out of bounds.
Yeah.
And so that would have ended it.
That was a great touchdown catch, too. That toe tapper, Jared Goff threw it where no one could catch it, and St. Brown made a perfect catch.
Right.
The JMO, there are so many great plays to get to, but let's focus on Jared Goff for a minute. Actually, we'll get back to Jared Goff. He was 18 for 18, but he didn't get the game ball.
That is correct.
Do you know who got the game ball?
I do not.
Okay, now I know who it was, but I'm not going to tell you. If you're not giving it to Jared Goff, who are you giving it to, T?
Yeah, I know. There's so many people. I mean, he didn't have a sack, but you could give it to Aiden Hutchinson. He drew penalties. He
All day long.
he flushed
Gino
out, and he was a monster. No sacks. I don't think he had a tackle, but he affected the game. To me, he can't be a defensive player.
No, you got to give it to the offense. And although he did give one to an offensive player and a defensive player, I don't know if I would have even given it to the offensive player. He gave it to J-Mo and to Kirby
Okay.
Joseph. And his reason for J-Mo, obviously the big play, the 70-yard touchdown pass was huge. His first reception, the first down one, remember when Jared Goff was about to get sacked and he did the little tilt-a-whirl, ended up finding J-Mo for a nice first down pass, but he references blocking downfield on multiple occasions. That's why I gave it to J-Mo. I'm giving it to a running back, Terry.
Oh, I know who he is, David Montgomery.
Yeah, I'm giving it to David Montgomery.
That pass play for 40 yards, man, I don't know who it was, but he busted somebody up.
I texted you like, hey, have you seen a run like that before? Like maybe channeling a Jerome Bettis memory or some story you can tell me. And would you text me back? No. I had never seen something like that.
I saw Barry Sanders do something similar, but he didn't blast. He was always avoiding things. It was a different way he did it. David Montgomery's like, bitch, please, get out my way.
He gave him a bitch, please, no doubt.
Right.
Put the first guy in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Just absolutely leveled him. And then scampered around, broke a couple more tackles, 40 yards. That's my game ball, if I'm not giving it to Jared Goff.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah.
But you know what? If the Lions had discovered David Montgomery for the Tampa game, they could be unbeaten.
They could. Like, why not just give him the ball? I know Gibbs was having a good game, too. And the thunder of lightning was in full effect last night. But I feel like there's sometimes you just got to stick with Montgomery. Although maybe they were saving him for the fourth quarter or something. I'm not going to doubt Ben Johnson last night.
When he gets to rest, he's more effective late in the game. A lot of times you run the football because it makes sense.
Yeah.
You just want to get 10 yards and you want to stay on the field. But a lot other times it's, how are we going to be the stronger team in the fourth quarter?
Yes.
And so if you stagger Montgomery and Gibbs, they're going to have pretty fresh legs.
They are.
And the fat guys up front, or the fat boys, which are the defensive linemen, they don't feel like chasing these dudes all the time or getting battered all the time. Even though you might be 320 pounds, it affects you.
Yeah.
You're not as good because you're a fat boy.
Yeah.
Fat guys don't last as long.
You can't avoid the toll.
So, right.
Everyone's got to pay the toll.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the fat boys.
Right.
Especially the fat boys.
But if you can keep Montgomery fresh for the second, or Gibbs fresh, it's like a monster.
It is. And that's part of the coaching, the game planning, Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson working together, Scotty Montgomery to find that perfect balance between those two. But I thought it was a pretty perfect balance between those two yesterday. Quick little reset. Just want to say hi to Chase in the sound booth. Chase for helping us out. JB in the TD booth. This is Woodward in Maine. My name's Matt Broder. This is Terry Foster, the Detroit sports media legend. And speaking of your legend, Terry Foster, real quick, WeezyD313 in the chat. He's coming. He's coming after you. He was a little pissed, I think, you going after the fans early on. Said, Chase, and kids. I know you're unfamiliar, but the shop late 90s and all 2000s, Terry Foster criticized all Lions fans and the organization via the newspaper and the radio. Now he glazes us.
Well, and
We
you know
good,
what?
Terry.
You know what? Here's why. Show me something. I'm not here to bullshit with you guys. I tell you how it is. The Lions were awful. What am I supposed to say? I know they won 6 games, but keep the faith, everybody. This team didn't become what they are now until they changed everything. They changed ownership. They changed leadership. They changed coaching. They changed culture. They changed the way they draft. They changed everything about the team that you rooted for was awful. What am I supposed to do? Still say, they're still a good team, even though they made you cry every weekend. They made your lives miserable. So I, as a journalist and somebody that was covering the team and following the team in the locker room a few times, I'm not going to, come out there and just say, hey, guys, everything is cool. Because it wasn't.
No.
And it was never going to be until they found out how a real NFL team works.
See, this man stands on business. But Terry, you told him as a little boy there was no reason to like his team because of the Fords, with no other analysis. Sounds like you just answered it, too. Everything changed.
And what did Sheila Ford do? She doesn't use Ford anymore. She's Sheila Hamp. So everything about this organization has changed. There was no way they were going to win when the old man was in charge, because he was hiring his boys and letting them stick around too long and patting them on the back. Now, here's the other thing.
Yeah.
He took you through the Matt Millen era. And here's why he hired him. Because Matt's a great guy. Everybody likes Matt, and all the other teams around the league are going to pass along the information that makes them successful to Matt Millen. That's never going to happen. And y'all bought it. Y'all bought the whole thing that, he can learn on the job. Do you want a brain surgeon learning on the job? No.
Nope.
Do you want an airline pilot learning on the job? No.
Mm-mm.
Do you want someone running your favorite organization that you cry over every day and like, gotta win. Do you want him learning on the job? No. So what they did, they brought in people who've already learned before they took the job. You have a new owner, Sheila Hamp, because I always get this. Well, what difference does ownership make?
Everything.
It means a lot. This is Sheila Hamp didn't try to be the smartest person in the room. She didn't say, well, you know what? I'm going to hire these people, but now and then when I'm going to dip my toe into the batch of cookies here, and I'm going to put my will on this team. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. That's what you had here. You had people that didn't know what the hell they're doing. Now they know. Now they know
what they're doing,
different.
and they're not afraid to still ask for help or to still put people around themselves. Sheila Hamp, Chris Spielman, Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes. They keep putting people around themselves, even though they've already learned. They know there's more to learn. Like, this organization is just operating on a completely different level as it was 10 years ago.
Right. And the other difference with the Detroit Lions now, they're not afraid to say the words Super Bowl.
No.
And you know what? It could bite them in the ass, because there's a great possibility they don't make the Super Bowl this year, because there's a lot of good teams in the NFL. But they're saying, this is our goal. What I heard before, and this is the team that you followed, hey, we can win football games. Who the hell cares? The New York Jets can win football games. The Jacksonville Jaguars can win football games. Who the hell cares about that? But when you start putting yourself in a championship position, I changed my mind And I will praise this team.
Let's go. Nothing wrong with that. New information.
I tell you what, and I've been consistent about this too. When the Lions, every time they lose a game and there's panic in the city,
Yeah.
I'm like, don't worry, they got this.
Yeah. Bro, there have been 3 questionable games played so far, and the Lions are 4-1. Excuse me, 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
Like it hasn't been a perfect start to the season, and you've run off 3 wins against. Were the Seahawks in the playoffs last year?
Yes, they got beat by the 49ers.
Yeah. So we're talking 3 playoff teams. That's not a bad start to the season, especially when you're breaking it down into quarters. And how cool was that last night, having a game like that on Monday Night Football for the nation to see? Like, I think that's just good branding for the Lions. That's good.
It is.
It's everything you want them to see.
You know what you can call them?
The Lions?
The prime time Lions. They're now 7-1 in primetime games the last 2 years.
You know what we were talking about? We're kind of going after the fans at the beginning of the show, but like, why didn't we expect this? This team shows up in primetime. They've shown when the lights are the brightest, they bring their best game.
You know why? Because fans still have in the back of their mind that this old fossil of a team could always show up.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing: if the Lions were so great,
Yeah.
how come in the 90s, in the 00s, we didn't see fans standing up and cheering and screaming before every play that the defense tried to make?
There's not that belief.
It was not that belief. Another thing when they were at the Silverdome in the early days of Ford Field, the Lions had to do something to get the fans involved.
Yeah.
Now the fans come in ready to be involved, and so they're like, okay, the team needs to get their level up to where we are now. So let's roll.
Let's roll.
So everything is different around here.
From the top to the bottom, from
Right.
the team to the fans. Speaking of the fans, what would you rate that crowd? What did it look like to you? You watched it on TV, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What? It seemed loud. It looked incredible. I want to ask you about the crowd and the uniforms, the debut of the Blacks. But first, rate that crowd.
I give it a solid 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go. You gave them a 10 2 weeks ago against the Bucks.
Yeah, I thought they were crazier during the Bucks game, a little bit.
See, I felt like they were. Maybe it was the offense, but I felt like they were louder and more engaged, even all game yesterday.
Well,
Chat.
hey, you know what, Joe? Different strokes for different folks.
That's what they say. That's what they say. Chat 1 to 10 in the chat. Let us know what you would rate the crowd yesterday. Also, Terry, what would you pay for a ticket if you had if it cost $5, $50, $500, or $5,000? You see that game last night. What would you have paid to be in that stadium?
I'm gonna give it a $5,000 game.
You would have gone.
Because I just thought last night's game was just so entertaining, and there was drama. It was we always say on the show that if you win by 10 points in the NFL, it's a blowout. Lions won by 13. That was nowhere near a blowout.
Nowhere near.
That game could have changed. Seattle, I thought, played very well last night. Maybe not defensively. They made stupid plays, bonehead decisions, and that's what hurt them. Mistakes hurt Seattle.
Yeah.
But what did we always say about the Lions? Lions, they didn't play that bad today, but those bonehead plays, that killed them. And we said that in the past. We don't say that much anymore.
No.
The only loss this season, I thought it was, I don't know if it was a loss of belief in what this team is all about, what it's anchored in, and it's anchored in toughness. It's anchored in running the football. It's anchored in sprinkling in the big plays. But I don't think Dan Campbell lost faith in his team. He became too Hollywood. And I don't mean about the commercials and stuff, but they tried too much fluffy stuff. They had Jared Goff passing 55 times.
Yeah.
That's not going to work, bro.
I was worried we were going to see that one more time when they win the toss, elect to receive, and the first play is a little 1 yard play action pass to Laporta, and you could see Ben Johnson's face on the sideline. They showed it. He wasn't happy. I'm like, why? Even if everyone in the country knows it's coming, why are you not running the first play right down the middle with David Montgomery or right to the right side behind Penei Sewell? Just do it. they figured that out. Second drive, they came back and they started running it down their throats, and that set up everything for Jared Goff in the passing game.
I understand you want to keep people off balance because I see this way too much in college football and the NFL too. First play of the game, handoff, -2 yards, and all of a sudden you're behind the sticks. Opposition knows that they want to run the football, but do a little play action. I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Especially the first play of the game.
Yeah.
But in the whole totality, what I talk about, the whole totality of a game, you need to be running that damn ball.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Brandon Hasso in the chat gave the crowd an 8, rated him an 8. Cryptomania, who's from the UK, by the way. Thanks for tuning in. He's tired at work from the UK.
All right.
Tuning in at 7:25 a.m. here in Detroit. Gave it a 9. Mitten made an 8.5. Jan gave it a 10. Levi Sipchich gave it an 8. Anakin Skyoger a 9. So 7s and ups, a lot of 8s and 9s, and a 10.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing about a Lions game, there's always a play that I said, man, that's stupid. Why are you doing that? You know what it was last night?
I think so.
No, you don't. It was the touchdown for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm like, in that situation, I'm like, just run the clock down and blah, but then they got a touchdown. So I was wrong on that one. I was like, what the hell are they doing? Oh, shoot, touchdown.
Not the play action in the end zone with, it was like 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go, where Jared Goff ended up being safetied. They put it on the 1 yard line to start.
Yeah, you know what? Situation like that, yeah,
why?
You run the football. Because, Dan Campbell's nuts, that's why.
And I love it, but I don't love that. I don't like that one.
You don't like it when it doesn't work.
No, that one I would have liked if it worked. I don't agree with it either way. That you're that deep in the air. Like, just run the ball. It also stopped the clock before the 2-minute warning. There's just and Jared Goff was perfect up to that point. So I don't know what it looked like downfield. I haven't seen the tape, but maybe it's in the back of his head. He's he's not going to force a pass where maybe he should have gotten the ball out a little quicker. He hung on to it.
You know what? And at that point in the game, you've already done your job. You put your team up double digits. You had bad field position, but what you do is you run the football there because here's the thing.
Yeah.
When you're in the end zone and you want to pass, a holding penalty is a safety.
Yeah.
You stops the clock, gives opposition points. You don't want that. You don't care if you score again. You just want that clock to read triple zeros. I thought in that situation, even though he got away with it, I thought Dan Campbell was being, and maybe Ben Johnson were being reckless. It wasn't the smart thing to do in that situation.
Yeah. I thought it was dumb.
It was dumb.
I thought it was dumb.
But you know what? Dude, bro, you're going to have to put your diapers on every time you see this team play. Because Dan Campbell, man, this bro, he likes to jump off the cliff, and I mean the top. So it's going to be nuts.
Terry, I know it's the morning, but you can have a beer earlier in the morning. After last night's game, if you were to take any one of the players out for a beer, who would you take out and why?
I would take Terrion Arnold out. I mean,
why? I have another question about Terrion Arnold.
He's a very handsy guy. But I thought not last night. Last night, all his holds and pass interference, they were legit. But
you want someone to go with their hands to take out for a beer.
But for a lot of times, I think he's gotten fucked. I think the officials are looking at him, and they're really tick-tacky with him. Last night, maybe not the case. Last night, yeah, those are holds. But I've been looking at other games. I see people putting their gluey hands on people and no call.
So what would you do if you were the Lions?
You got a bye week, and you need to teach him, say, Terrion, you're in the NFL and you're not in college anymore.
You got to keep your hands to yourself.
I think Aaron Glenn needs to tell him, man. cut those hands off. Oh, no, cut the fingers off. Whack.
Just cut his fingers off.
Yeah, so he can't grab anybody. He can paw him now, but he can't grab anybody.
You don't want to put any like oven mitts on, wrap him in duct tape. So he really just cut him off.
Oh, you know what you can do? Those little sliding gloves that they have in Major League Baseball, put those on his hands.
Yeah, both hands.
Right.
We don't need him picking off the ball. Just stop grabbing.
Right.
Just stop grabbing, dude. So cut his fingers off.
With the mitt, but if you're wearing the mitts, you can like slap somebody still.
Yeah. I'm all right with that. I'm all right with his physicality. He's just gonna learn. Man, this is a different ball game. This is a different beast. He can't be so handsy. The refs are looking at him.
Right. But I think he will make the same plays in his third and fourth year, and they won't call it.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. Well, what would you ask him? You said you take him out to a beer. Do you think he was one of the stars of the game, or is this more of a, hey, how do you feel out there, rookie? You're getting some bad calls.
This is not, hey, you were a star tonight. It was, dude, you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And they keep calling it over and over and over again. What are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do about it? Weezy D313, DJ Reader got a donk. Crazy Clown says, Terrion needs to listen to his grumpy Uncle Terry and stop grabbing.
Or grumpy Uncle Terry going to get that mallet, or not the mallet, but he's going to get that big butcher knife and cut those fingers off, bro. And they're going to start calling him Stumpy Arnold.
Hey, Stumpy. Mike G, Terry can be handsy at the Sun Bowl. Terry put oven mints on him, says Mike G. Man. Oh, Keith Gallardo says he take Demo out for a beer. David Montgomery, that's a pretty good one.
No, it's good.
I'm going on the opposite of Terrion Arnold, though. I'm going to take Carlton Davis the second out. He had his hands full all night, pause, with DK Metcalf.
And he was pissed, too.
He was pissed. And actually, I think the one he was the most pissed about, that was a penalty. The one over the middle of DK Metcalf. I thought some of the others were a little bit more questionable. But I just want to, like, those are the type of receivers that Carlton Davis enjoys covering. He's his best at covering the big-bodied, traditional XY receivers. But that doesn't mean DK Metcalf's an easy assignment. That dude is a beast.
You know what? And you're right. That was a penalty. But I think the reason he was so mad was he said, I think he thought in his mind, I got a little bit of hand on him, but I'm not affecting him catching the ball. It's kind of like I got a little wraparound on him. So don't call that, because you're not going to call that all the time.
Right.
I think that's what made him mad. And he was and bro, you run the risk of having a beer with him. He might throw that beer in your face.
Yeah, that's for sure. He was not happy. Like, he was going after the right. It looked like a manager going to get ejected from a baseball game.
Right.
He was trying to get thrown out.
But I think he realized how big the stakes are.
Yeah.
And that any mistake or any big play could turn a game around. The Lions are focused on winning a Super Bowl. They're focused on winning a division, and they're focused on beating a team that's beaten them 6 times in a row.
Yeah.
So the players were into it. The players were emotional, and which is fine. Mm-hmm. But you can't be so emotional that it affects your play. Mm-hmm. And smartly, and I haven't seen this in the past, when he was upset, guys were pushing him away. No, get away. In the past, they would just let a player scream at the ref, get ejected, and the team would lose focus. The team kept focused. They got him away. And so once again, observing a different team.
Exactly.
That's why I'm so, if you want to call it, tolerant of them.
Speaking of observing a new team, Terry, I was told that this team can't score in the third quarter.
I heard that too.
Yeah, bitch, please. They showed us yesterday, at least for one game, that's a myth now.
Right.
They got to do it consistently. But 2 for 2, they came out of the gates. Look, they came out of the gates loose. Seattle started with the ball, but that offense picked up right where it left off. Actually, their last drive of the first half wasn't so great, but they picked up, as a whole in that first half, and we're cruising. 2 straight touchdowns in the third quarter.
True, and
love to see that.
I think people were upset about the Arizona game. There was no need to score. Yes, you wanted to score, but it wasn't something you had to do to win the game.
Right.
I think they got into the run the clock out mode, maybe a little too soon for my likings, but it worked. And I thought they could have scored if that touchdown had counted, the one that they called back because of the 2-minute warning. That touchdown had counted and Arizona had taken the lead, the Lions would have scored in the second half.
Oh, in Arizona. Yes.
That's what I said. Arizona. Yeah. They would have scored.
Yeah. But again, that game, they didn't need to. And it's easy to look back and say that, but they didn't need to. In this game against the Seahawks, the way it was going, the offense had to keep scoring.
Correct.
And they did it with a, what are we calling it, chat? Not Motown Philly, but the Amon-Ra St. Brown pass to Jared Goff was the first one. And the second one, first play of their second drive of second half, was a 70-yard touchdown to J-Mo, where he was high stepping from like the 30-yard line. I thought he was going to get a flag for that, but he got one for honoring Kelvin Johnson with the dunk.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man, really? This is not college football. He dunked the goalpost, and you get a penalty for that.
I think they need to bring back end zone celebrations, like the Joe Horn, Randy Moss end zones. To why not?
I love him.
Me too.
National Football League, the No Fun League, man.
And he was honoring Calvin on Calvin's night, being honored, getting put into the pride of the Lions.
Another thing, is the other team offended? No.
Not that.
So he dunked the goalpost. I don't think you showed up anybody.
No.
I didn't even see it at first.
No, they didn't show it on TV.
Right.
Like, I haven't seen many replays of it either. They didn't show it. Those are the things. Let it go. Let him dance. Mm-hmm. Or throw it on the high step, which I love, by the way. Little D on high step.
Right. Here is my problem with the NFL.
Yeah. The No Fun League?
Yeah, the No Fun League. All week you practice and crush, kill, destroy. When you accomplish that either by scoring a touchdown or getting a sack or whatever, then they're saying, well, don't do anything. Just look like you're reading a book.
Yeah. Because you're not in the middle of war.
Yeah, right. And I understand the Barry Sanders just handed the ball to the referee. Okay, everybody's not Barry Sanders. Yeah. I want to see some celebrations.
Yeah, some personality, some energy. Mm-hmm. Like that'll make them more marketable. Aren't they looking for more reasons?
St. Brown did a little river dance last night.
Had the whole team involved.
Right. So how's that different than dunking the goalpost?
I think with the dunking the goalpost thing, I know like Jimmy Graham used to do that a lot, and he actually messed up the goalpost, and it took time out of the game for them to have to adjust it. So I think like that, like how Gronk has his spike, Jimmy Graham when he was going off in New Orleans, he had the goalpost dunked too, and he delayed a game. So I think after that year, that's when they started implementing the rule where you can no longer dunk. I think it was just because it caused the delay of game.
I feel like someone got hurt during that process as well too, attempting to dunk the football over the goalpost. So that's probably why they stopped it too.
Send it in, Jerome. If that's the case, though, why don't we just get rid of field goals? If remember when Martin Gramatica celebrated? He was on the Buccaneers, celebrated a made field goal and tore his ACL, like jumping up and landing funny. Right. Or was it Jeff George or Gus Frerotte who ran their head into the padded wall?
That was Frerotte.
Frerotte, yeah.
He was a clown.
Yeah. If you're gonna get hurt celebrating, I don't know what to tell you.
That's his punishment. He jacked up his shoulder. That's your punishment.
Yeah.
There.
There were some baseball players. They would get hurt celebrating, jumping on home plate after a walk-off home run when the crowd was there. Maybe that's why they outlaw celebration. They're looking out for the NFL's looking out for their players. Of course.
How they outlaw? I see celebrations still, and I like them. We have a new society here. It's not just about substance. It's not just about the games and everything. I think fans come out because they want to have fun. They want to be entertained. And the game, although it's exciting, it's not enough for people. So give the fans what they want.
Give the fans what they want. Just give the people what they want.
Or, the hell with the fans. Give me what I want. I want to see it.
Roger. Give this man what he wants. Give Terry Foster what he wants.
Right. I'm in a selfish mood today.
I love it. I love selfish Terry. Mm-hmm. Get spicy. Get spicy. Who do you think the Lions missed the most yesterday? Or did they miss any of them at all? Ragnow, Brian Branch, Derek Barnes? I'm going to name those three.
I'm going to say Brian Branch. Because at some point, I mean, they were running up and down. At some point, Brian Branch would have decapitated somebody.
Yeah.
He was, seriously.
I agree. Although, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, like, are they ever going to give up a 100-yard rusher again? Kenneth Walker, K9, he did go off a bit in the second half, and he had 3 touchdowns, but they did nothing in the run game in the first half. Brian Branch, I do think, would have helped some of those plays. Kirby came up and missed some tackles, made some poor reads in the third quarter. But Brian Branch, I'm going...
Will they give up another 100-yard rusher? The answer is yes.
Ever?
In the year 2035, they will give up a 100-yard rusher to somebody.
It just doesn't seem like any running back can get anything going against this team.
No, there's lots of penetration.
Love penetration.
And then the other thing that the Lions do very well is cutbacks. When running backs try to cut back to somebody there, said, bro, you ain't going anywhere.
Swarmed. Mm-hmm. That's the Anzalonis, the Jack Campbells. Malcolm Rodriguez had a good game yesterday.
I know.
Swarm.
Yeah. That's a guy we kind of forgot about a little bit.
Yeah, well, Sam Flannel wrote him off because he's a role player. Right, Flannel?
Well, he is a role player,
No, I know.
but now and then he needs to step up sometime.
Yeah,
And he's played well a couple weeks in a row.
He has had the big interception in the 49ers game last year, big sack last night. I do think they missed Derek Barnes. I think they missed him a little bit, especially in the second half. Their tackling wasn't so great, and they let K9 get out a little bit. I thought he would have helped last night, but ultimately, I was really impressed with that offensive line. Graham Glasgow, I thought, played great. They dominated from the start. This game was won. You brought it up at the beginning. 0 turnovers for the Lions compared to the 2 Seahawks turnovers, and then they dominated with the running game. Like period, end of story. It's over. It was the running game of that offensive line. They just dominated, and that allowed Jared Goff to have a perfect game throwing the ball. Like, everything was perfect. So perfect, I want to ask you, if you were going to give out... Dan Campbell's been in these Applebee's commercials. Mm-hmm. If there was a new endorsement coming Dan Campbell's way, what business, company, restaurant, what kind of endorsement do you think Dan Campbell should get based on that game, based on last night?
How about...
Because I got one.
I'm going to go Burger King.
Okay.
Because
Tell me why.
have it your way. Last night. I think, last night was,
that.
Once again, they got back to the basics. And he was still wild and crazy. He did some crazy stuff last night. So it was like, I'm going to do it my way. So it was. I thought that was a Burger King commercial waiting to happen for Dan Campbell.
I dig it. I'm going to go with the Old Country Buffet. You remember the Old Country Buffet?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody eats.
Yep.
Everybody ate last night. I mean, to the tune of just about every, weapon, offensive player. Goff ate. He had a perfect day throwing the ball. 1 catch, 1 touchdown reception. Gibbs had 14 carries, 2 touchdowns. Montgomery, 12 carries. St. Brown, J-Mo, Laporta, Brock Wright, Khalif Raymond. Tim Patrick. I thought he had 2 great plays.
Right.
2 important
with
catches.
his gimpy self, man. He looked like old Pappy Smurf last night running. But it was effective.
Oh, you need him to just catch the first down. You just need that Josh
You know
Reynolds.
what? When he caught the pass and he was running down the sideline, I turned my volume up high and I could hear.
Need some oil on those knees.
He's creaky, right? He needs some Pennzoil on those.
If you ever were curious what running with no knees looks like, that's what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. You know what he looked like?
What?
He looked like Joe Biden.
Oh my God! Just confused running out there.
Yeah, Joe Biden has that little tippy toe look. That's what he looked like last night when he was running.
Not Forrest Gump when he rips
not
off
Forrest.
the metal.
Nah.
No.
Run,
They're big
Forrest,
catches.
run.
Although he probably did have his braces on, and we didn't see him.
He might have. Terry, we got like 5 minutes left. One question to really spur some thought out of you. Are you worried about them being able to put teams away? Could they have stepped on their throat earlier last night?
Now, you know what? I'm not worried about them stepping on people's throat. Here's what worries me about the Lions.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell just can't let the half, run out. He can't let the game run out. He's got to do some little stuff to extend games when you're ahead. I fear that they can't get to triple zeros quick enough because Dan Campbell's going to do something ridiculous, or he's going to call a timeout, or there's going to be some play on there where you're slowing the game down. When you want to, okay, let's get out of here, go home, take a shower, have dinner somewhere.
It's like he never feels like, until it hits triple zeros, he never feels like the half is over. There's always something that they can do.
Right.
Sometimes just go to the locker, just take it to the locker room.
Right.
Which they chose to. They were going to get the ball back on a penalty. They were like, we're not throwing a Hail Mary with Goff. Let's just get to the locker room.
I was so afraid he was going to try to run into the play. I was going, why? You're up 14. Just get the hell out of there. I'm glad he made that decision.
Yeah. I just think, remember Anthony Thomas at Michigan back in the early 2000s? Like, whenever you can kneel it and run the clock out. If you decide to hand it off to the running back, bad things happen. They're going to fumble. You're going to throw a pick or something.
Uh-oh.
What?
The ball is loose.
What happened?
It's picked up by Michigan State. Jalen Watts-Jackson down the sideline.
Hey, none of that on
and
this.
he scores.
Trouble with he's reading. He's commentating the Michigan State trouble with the snap. None.
Those are the good old
Are
days.
you still traumatized by that?
Just highlighting what you were
yes.
talking about.
Actually, yes, I am traumatized. No, that was funny.
Good old days.
And it's also funny how everyone thinks that's Jalen Reeves-Maben. What was the guy's name?
Jalen Watts-Jackson.
Jalen Watts-Jackson.
Broke his hip getting dogpiled.
Exactly. Yep.
He sacrificed his whole body for that play.
He sure did. Any last notes, Terry, before we call it a day?
No. My last notes. Last night was fun.
Yeah.
Last night was a game where beforehand you weren't quite sure what was going to happen. It was an important game because if your whole goal is Super Bowl, your whole goal is winning the division, your whole goal is a number one seed, you had to win that game last night.
I do.
And the offense looked great. The defense did not. But part of that, I thought Seattle played real. I thought Geno Smith made some incredible plays. But, I just say that after every game. It's just like no matter what quarterback faces the Lions, they do something miraculous.
Yeah. They had big days, but Geno Smith did it in 56 passing attempts. There were never any a 29-yard pass to DK Metcalf was the longest pass. A 28-yard run to Kenneth Walker. They didn't give up the big play. They didn't. For the most part, they just let them chug down the field. The yards were in between the 20s, but then they held them. The points weren't as high. Detroit put the points on the board. They scored touchdowns most possessions.
All right, I got something for you.
What?
From this point forward, do the Lions on defensively take their foot off the gas? Because Aaron Glenn was pressing last night. He was in man-to-man coverage. Do you kind of chill out a little bit and kind of play a little softer defense?
No. No. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think you got to stay aggressive. You get being aggressive, win being aggressive.
Okay.
Like, hopefully they limit the turnovers. And Dan Campbell talked about it after the game. It's not often you're going to be successful with 12 penalties for 101 yards, but they made it happen. They forced the turnovers, a fumble, and an interception to Geno Smith.
And Terrion Arnold, we're going to cut off those fingers or put the oven mitt on you. Which is it going to be?
2 oven mitts.
2 oven mitts, right?
Both of them. Both of them. Hey, Terry, I think that'll do it. That'll do it for today.
All right.
Pretty awesome that we never heard any mention of Matt Patricia, though, last night. Really fantastic.
Oh, that's right. Matt
know?
Patricia was responsible for that win last night.
Exactly.
draft
So I'm
picks,
glad he didn't get the credit he deserves for the fruits of his labors, of his loins.
Bam.
Yeah. Terry, it was a pleasure.
You too,
us
buddy
out.
boy. We'll
Pleasure.
see you. And I got to get out of here. Big day for me.
Where you going?
I'm taking to the airport.
Take the little man to the airport?
Yeah, taking my son. My son's leaving me.
Come on.
I'm going to be sad. And I'm just stuck, me and the wife. I still like her, though. She's a good kid.
Oh, last thing. Game 1. Scooble versus Framber Valdez. Tigers Astros. Tigers winning this one?
Yes, but they'll lose the series in 3 games.
No.
I can't end on that. You know how you have to end? You're playing pickup basketball. You have to make a layup before you leave.
Got to end on a make.
Can't end on that. They win tonight and they win tomorrow. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go, Tigers.
We'll
Let's
see.
go. Let's go. This was Woodward and Maine. That is the legend, Terry Foster. My name's Matt Broder. We got JB Chase in the booths. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.
Lions
we'll see
are
you
good
next
now.
week.
See ya.